Good morning. So nice to see you join us for 3+You today. Hope you're having a great day and looking ahead to what I'm sure will be a fantastic weekend for you. We are letting you know, though, about a chance actually to witness history. That doesn't happen very often, but you can do it on April 14th at 7:30. All you have to do is show up in time to get a parking spot and be there on the campus of Lee University. Dr. Paul Kahn, who of course is synonymous with the school there, joins us this morning, and he said his sole purpose is to brag and not let David Holsinger be humble this morning because you're getting ready for his final concert.
That's right. You know, it's annoying when great men and women are humble. Have you ever, we don't have to put up with that very often, but we're not going to let this guy get humble on us right here at the end.
Actually, I know somebody who said once that it's a real gift to be able to accept a compliment. So we'll challenge you this morning, David, because you have had quite the career, and Dr. Kahn is eager to celebrate that with you. But what we're talking about is on April 14th at your beautiful Kahn Center on campus. It's called Holsinger Conducts Holsinger. It's your final concert.
It is. After
quite a stellar career.
Well,
you plucked him away, didn't you, Dr. Kahn?
We sure
you
did.
found him.
1999. We've had a big, good music program for a long time, but mostly it was about choirs, piano, choral music, worship music, but not much band music. We had a little band program, but we saw a chance to snag this guy who had a huge national reputation as a composer and conductor of band music, and you know, one thing led to another, and we got him to come to Cleveland, Tennessee to join our faculty, and he's been there 24 years now and has really changed music at Lee.
So if you are watching and you have a child who's ever been in a marching band at school, there's a real good chance if you got your kid on the phone and said, hey, did you ever know David Holsinger's music? They'd say, what? Because they all study you. Is that right?
All the good ones.
All the good ones
Yeah.
study
Now,
you.
if they're in the percussion section and they doze off half the time, you know, maybe not.
I didn't know it was comedy hour on the show today.
But yes, you know, his band music, you know, my children and grandchildren were in high school and middle school bands, and they all played Holsinger music. So yeah, he is very well known among local band people here and around the country.
All right, there's your lead in. Now it's time for you to take the compliment and let's brag on you a little bit. So what was do you have an inspiration when you're writing your music?
well, there's different things. Sometimes I write about people, I write about events, I write about Bible stories. Once in a while, some of my most successful pieces have been inspired by Bible stories. Or my children, I've written some very successful pieces, and they've been based on how my children act, you know, so to speak. So, you know, it's a...
Are you inspired more on a bad day or a good day?
Hey, well, it's hard to say. I had an article in a German magazine one time that said that the guy, a composer who has movies in his head, because basically I write portraits in sound. That's how I feel like as a composer.
I like to hear you say it that way. So I grew up listening to classical music. I played piano. I still keep my radio tuned to WSMC. I love classical music. And part of what I love about it, though, is that you put your emotion into the piece, you as the listener. So 5 people will take away 5 different things.
Yeah, exactly. And so lots of times, you know, just writing a piece of music, like titles, for instance, one of the odd things that everybody always thinks odd about me is I have to have a title before I even start a piece.
Okay, I can see that because it kind of keeps you focused.
I want to see this picture, and so that's, you know, and most composers I don't think do that. Debussy used to put his titles at the end of the pieces. After he'd written them, he'd decide, oh, this looks like a green sailboat, and he, you know, so, but I've got to have that title first.
That makes sense to me, actually.
I've got to have that image.
So you played multiple instruments. You began with piano at 4 years old,
Yes.
and your mom knew right away that was it for you.
And I probably knew too. You know, it's one of those things where just all my life it's been music. I can't imagine having not been a musician.
So some people like me, I learned to play, and I could sight read pretty well, and I could play. To be able to hear the music and create your own, to just sit down and let it flow, that's a whole different way of your brain working.
It is, yes, and you're right. I mean, maybe it sounds like bragging, but you do. Your brain works differently to make music.
Right.
And
so you played piano, then you played trumpet.
I did.
You played
baritone.
baritone.
Yes, because I was a terrible trumpet player. What is what it amounts to. So.
But do you think so when you're sitting down, because to write a piano piece, for example, would be its own thing.
Yeah.
To write, you brought the wind ensemble
Yes.
to Lee. Yeah. So do you like to write for larger groups?
Yes, I do. I would have liked to have written more for smaller groups, because that's when musicianship really shows up in the players themselves. But I've always liked the big music. I want to write the big music, and now when I write as if it's a piano score, and then I score it for all the instruments.
Then you add on the layers.
Yes. I had a composition teacher once who said that when you score a piece of music, you're actually recomposing it, because you're going from notes to colors.
Okay, I can see that too.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Do you follow a formula when you compose, or do you let it go as long as you feel it needs to go?
Now that's a hard question. That's one of those questions. How did you write that piece? It's one of those kind of questions. And every piece is different. It really depends on the subject matter, because many times I've started writing music that turns out to be in the middle of the piece. And then I always joke about I have to decompose towards the beginning to get to that point.
Kind of like an author
Yes.
might have a phrase that
Exactly.
they latch onto, but it won't fit until the third paragraph.
So I always talk about people, writers and poets who wake up in the middle of the night and jot something down
Yes,
on the bed table.
John
And it
Milton.
might make sense in the morning, and it might make no sense in the morning. Well,
Right.
that's kind of what you do.
Okay, so for this concert, your final one,
Yes.
first of all, are you excited for retirement, or are we going to watch you be emotional?
Well, I didn't really plan on retiring. I've had health problems, and that's just kind of gotten in the way, and so it's time to kind of slow down and stop. But I could do this my whole life if I could.
I have a feeling that there's a man sitting next to you who might make sure that happens,
Hey, he's excited. Let me just speak for him.
Yes.
Of course he's excited. He's human. He's going to play his own stuff in front of a big, excited crowd.
It's a prolific resume you have. How many pieces will you have performing that night?
Okay, I think we're doing 10, I think, of mine.
Can you imagine?
But
10.
they're large pieces, so the poor group was having to work really hard to get them. Because
You've already gotten some RSVPs from band directors in the area,
Band
bringing their
directors
kids.
all around North Georgia, all of your viewing audience, Lower East Tennessee. And, band people who are old cronies of his are coming from all over. And we have many of his former students who are coming. It's going to be a big night. We have so many high school band students who have RSVP'd for this. We're having a pizza party for them.
That's so great.
Because band music is okay, but band music plus pizza.
Yes.
You know how to get the win, right?
Yeah.
So it's free. It's a free
That's
event.
right, yeah.
You can go to Eventbrite, but you do have to get a ticket, if you will, because the Con Center does only hold so many people. I'm going to be looking for Richard Dreyfuss. It feels like Mr. Holland's opus. But really and truly, this is history in the making.
Right.
April 14th at 7:30. And when we talk about the gifts that people are given, Dr. Kahn, for y'all, you and Darlia, to have been able to see his talents 24 years ago, and you be the one to secure him, we're all indebted to you as well.
It's been very inspiring.
Thank you. Best of luck to you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Best of luck. Happy retirement.